Welcome to At the Coolidge, a movie discussion show about independent film. Films coming to the Coolidge Corner Theater in Brookline. I'm Tim Jackson. This week we're talking about the Dhamma Brothers, a film by Jenny Phillips, about a meditation program that was brought into the Donaldson Correctional Facility in Alabama. And I'm speaking about this film with Art Cohen, who is a documentary filmmaker, a teacher, and a radio anchor from WBZ News Radio 1030.
You got it right.
All right. So the idea of bringing meditation into the prisons is Vipassana meditation,
Yes, that's
which
correct.
you've studied. It's a very interesting way to go about rehabilitation with these incarcerated prisoners, many of whom are pretty rough, who have committed really shocking crimes, but are not necessarily bad people. It's sort of there but for the grace of God go I situations in many cases.
I think in some cases, yeah. I mean, in some cases they killed people during a robbery. I think there's a domestic violence incident.
Yeah.
Some pretty nasty things.
Yeah, which is surprising. And to see the film unfolds a very interesting story of not only how the meditation worked, but how the program was supported in Alabama, because it's not the kind of rehabilitation that they are used to.
Well, it's very curious that they even allowed it in Alabama, because it's sort of like touchy-feely Buddhist. Certainly they were non-Christian, and I think there was even a protest at one point by a Christian minister who said, you can't teach that stuff in our prisons, you'll convert everybody into Buddhism.
Yeah, that's amazing that was
so
the
they had to
biggest piece of
stop it
resistance.
at one point.
Right. But obviously it was great for them, and I think the idea of meditation and unfolding what meditation does for a person is fascinating in this situation. And maybe you can...
Well,
talk
it's
a little bit
curious.
about that.
You asked me to watch the film, and I didn't know anything about it. And as I'm watching it, I realized, oh, I have studied some meditation. Not only have I studied meditation, but I studied the precise kind of meditation that they were teaching. And as it turns out, as I discovered at the end, I studied it at the place where the teachers were from, although it was so long ago those teachers were not there.
This is the Vipassana Meditation Center in
Shelburne Falls,
Massachusetts.
yeah.
Yes, because I should say that Jenny Phillips is also a Massachusetts filmmaker, and that this is produced by Northern Light Productions, which is Bester Cram's production company. Beautifully done piece.
It's a very lovely film, classic documentary style and structure, a little slow in places, and not quite enough dramatic tension, although, you know, in the hands of another person, they might have started with the horrendous stories of the murders. They might have sort of drawn people in a little bit more with that, and then backed into the meditation. But here they started with the meditation, they led up to it very slowly. It's beautifully made.
Yeah, which is what I found interesting about it. I've seen prison films about incarceration. Should these people be incarcerated? What's the issue? For how long are they incarcerated? Who's being incarcerated? That's one movie. But this, the process of meditation, how they go about it, was interesting to somebody who hasn't done that. I mean, I've done some yoga here and there, but
Well,
what did it do to the prisoners, and why would it work in terms of a rehabilitation device?
Well, the goal of meditation, I think, and generally of Buddhist meditation, is to help people control their thoughts. You know, these are people who have raging thoughts, who get very angry, who act impulsively. I don't think any of them were true sociopaths in the sense that they were just unable to experience other or imagine other people's feel. All of these people were regretful, at least the ones they showed us. And what meditation is designed to do is to teach you to control those kinds of emotions. And part of it, without getting too complex about what the Buddha taught, is that all of your thoughts are not real, yet you let them we all let them control us. We have a storm of thoughts going on in our brain all the time, and we're pulled by them. And what meditation does, or is supposed to do, is to get you to say, oh, it's just my brain working overtime. I can let all that go and get back to what's really happening in the present moment. That's the whole point of meditation. So almost all forms of meditation are about focusing on something other than your thoughts, usually the breath, some kind of a phrase. You've heard the word mantra. Vipassana meditation has you focus on your breath. And they've come up with this program, this 10-day retreat. that's a silent retreat.
Now this is, you're talking about in Northampton? I mean in
Everywhere.
Shelburne. This is
All
what
over
the
the world.
Vipassana system.
The whole Vipassana system is this 10-day retreat developed by a guy named S.N. Goenka, who's a Buddhist teacher. And it's not designed to make you a Buddhist. You don't have to be a Buddhist. But it's designed to sort of be a healing period of time in your life. And you do it maybe once a year, once every few years, theoretically. And I did it about, I don't want to say about 20, 30 years ago now. And I didn't do the whole 10 days. I stayed most of the time. And it's a silent retreat. There's a bunch of other people around, but you are not supposed to talk to them. And they have you meditate for about 10 hours a day. This is what they did with the prisoners. Silent, 10 days, they isolated part of the prison. There was no talking, and then you get some meditation instruction, and then you do it. In the beginning, the first couple of days, I remember, were hell. I had a headache. I actually went to one of the instructors and said, you're allowed to speak to the instructors in whispers, but not to any of the other participants. And I went to one of the instructors and said, I have a terrible headache, can I get some coffee? And she said, she was an Indian lady, and I can't do the accent exactly right, but she said, oh, it's just all the negativities coming up through your brain. It will go away in a few days.
Plus a little caffeine withdrawal.
It was caffeine withdrawal, actually, is what it was.
Yeah.
I didn't realize it at the time. I think I asked for aspirin, actually. And anyway, it did go away. And then, so the first couple of days, you're trying to sit. They want you to sit for roughly 10 hours a day, not all at once, but over the course of the day. And you can't. I mean, how can you sit and concentrate on your breath without moving for 10 hours? You can't. So the first couple of days are horrible. And then by the third day, you realize, oh, I am sitting for an hour, and I haven't moved. And you're very peaceful and relaxed, and it just gets easier and easier. And at some point, you realize, I can't wait to sit and meditate.
Wow.
You look forward to it. It's the most peaceful experience you've ever had, because every time a thought comes up in your head, you're just letting it go. All the things that would drive you nuts before, you're just saying, oh, that doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. I'm right here. And you're breathing.
And by putting the stakes into the people who are sitting in rooms, cells by themselves often, what an incredible thing to do for them.
Oh, I know
But
that
not easy.
for me, at the end of, I left that, I didn't quite stay the full 10 days, but I was there for most of it. I had to leave for some reason, and I was never so peaceful, never so calm, never so high in my whole life for months afterward. And even to this day, even though it's been a couple of decades, it's still with me. It transformed my life. It really did, and it's crazy for me to say that, but I have learned never to be ruled by my raging thoughts. I always have a mechanism to let them go, and I realize that they don't represent reality. My anxieties, my hurts when someone else slights me, you know, and I feel like, oh, that person is doing better than I am. They're more favored than I am. I can let all that go, and it's just amazing.
So if you do this once a year, you're...
Yeah, and I don't know why I haven't been back. It was so it was so powerful that maybe it was just too frightening to go back. Yeah. But it has to this day transformed my life. So for these prisoners,
that's what I was going to ask. Can you see this effect?
Yes, absolutely. I can see it being an amazing transformation for them.
I wonder if it's something